On today's show, we're going to explore the latest Instagram updates and ways to use them in your marketing, including some algorithm news that the head of Instagram sort of mentioned casually and a lot of people missed. Also, time to check your profiles. You may have lost some of your content. This is affecting some users. And a lot of testing going on that kind of gives an indication of where Instagram is continuing to head as we go to the end of 2024 and then into 2025. My name is Jerry Potter. Yes, it rhymes with the boy wizard, host of the Social Media Marketing Talk Show from Social Media Examiner. We break down all the latest social media news and what it means for marketers like you. And today I'm joined by Chelsea Pites. Chelsea teaches sales professionals how to leverage social media and technology to build a powerful personal brand and develop content that generates real leads. She's host of the Chelsea Pites podcast, and her most recent book is called What to Post. Chelsea, welcome to the show.
I'm so glad to be back. Happy Friday. I can't wait to get into the updates.
Yeah, so let's talk about the algorithm. And first, the big updates to the analytics or insights, as Instagram has called them, which these are actually good changes, I think. But tell us exactly what's shifted here as we're looking at how our content's performing.
Yeah. So if you read the headline, you might have been a little bit confused because it talked about how they're changing the main metric. Instead of having it say plays, they're changing it to views. And I could totally see the confusion because it kind of did read as if they were saying views are the most important metric or the number one metric. But have no fear, shares, saves, all the metrics are still important. What they're doing is trying to make it cohesive across the different types of formats because we had some different language for different things like plays on Reels, and then we had views on other things. And so they're just kind of making it across the board. We're making it views. You're not going to see plays anymore. Impressions is not going to be showing. However, I believe you can go to Ads Manager if you really wanted to see that breakdown and access that. So they haven't made any huge change algorithmically as far as we're moving towards views as the major metric that we're weighting. They're just changing the title of plays to views, and you'll see views across every format to make it a little bit easier to manage those insights.
Well, and so my interpretation of this, I mean, for years, clients have always, yes, businesses of all sizes. Wait, so what's reach? What are impressions? What is,
Yes.
and so it has been very, very confusing, more so once Reels came along.
Mhm.
But a view it feels like is kind of an impression in the sense. And then reach will continue to be the number of people you reached as opposed to how many times the content was seen. So,
Right.
yeah, so watch for that to roll out soon. And then similarly, Adam Mosseri just kind of slipped in some tips and some things about how to improve performance. And I always love when this comes right from him. And one of these surprised me, but I'll let you share what the updates were, and then we can talk about that.
Yeah, he loves to give tips, so we love to follow Adam to get it directly from the source. And he shared two really good tips. One, that if you're creating reels and posting them, it is a really good idea to share those reels to stories. I agree with that because sometimes your people that are following you might be missing it. And those views do count. I'm trying not to say plays. Those views do count when you are sharing that to your story as well. But to be honest with you, oftentimes I'll pick and choose. I may not be in the feed. I may just be in the story. So it's helpful for me as a follower so that I don't miss it. But it does say that you're going to potentially get more reach because that view count will likely go up if you share it to your story. And said, and I quote, usually for most people, your feed posts get a lot more reach than your stories because they have so much story inventory. So I thought that was a really important point. The second thing that he shared is that collab posts, those posts where you can actually not just tag someone, but you can use the collaborate button, are going to perform better when the account that has more followers initiates the creation of that post and then tags the collaborator.
This was the one that surprised me because I've done quite a few collaborations where, if there's a guest on the podcast, we'll pull a clip out and we'll invite them to be a collaborator. And I don't know how you would test this unless you did it with the exact person multiple ways. Because I know when I have sent a collaboration request to somebody with a much bigger account than mine and they accepted, it does really, really well, right? So I'm able to benefit from their, from their audience as well. But vice versa, I haven't seen anything substantial to be able to just flat out know that that's true. I would think that it would be, I guess, better for all of us if the smaller account sent the request simply because, like one of the reasons that people will accept my collaborations is because I've created a piece of content that makes them look good, and they're like, "Yes, please." So that's why it surprised me.
Yeah, he did also mention too that yeah, we kind of know that it's been favoring, and I kind of got the feeling that he was saying, we probably should look into that because the algorithm can tell and is sort of biased in that direction. So we'll see if any changes happen from that.
Yeah. All right. Lots more to cover, including new ways to grow your broadcast channels. Also, carousels can be bigger, but should they? All that coming up in a second. But it is time to stop guessing with your marketing. Imagine knowing what marketing strategies or tactics will work without spending time or money on trial and error. Now, imagine being able to pull back the curtain and seeing exactly how to implement these strategies with no stone left unturned. That's what happens when you attend Social Media Marketing World. Chelsea Pites was just announced as a speaker. She's going to be back sharing far more than we can do, obviously, on this show. One attendee, Laura, said, "This was honestly the best conference I've attended in my professional life." You can get your ticket today. Go to socialmediamarketing.world. Again, go to socialmediamarketing.world, see the lineup, and grab your ticket now. So broadcast channels, obviously some users are finding them very beneficial because they're adding more and more features and ways to use them. So what's the latest update on this, Chelsea?
The latest update is that you are going to be able to tag your broadcast channel in a post. So, just like you're able to in the posting section right before you're going to post it, you're putting your caption in there, you can tag a person or an account. You can also tag products. You will start seeing tag broadcast channel to make it just a little bit more seamless for those who are seeing that post to be able to click on and maybe join your broadcast channel very easily right from the post.
Well, because up until now, you could start a broadcast channel, right? And usually everyone will get notified. And then when new people come to follow you, they might get invited. But other than that, there's been a lot of friction to grow your broadcast channel. You
Right.
could say, "Hey, go subscribe. I'm sharing this thing." And a lot of people will go, how many clicks? How many clicks
Right.
is that? So
Yes.
I love that you can tag it now. I think that's really helpful. Have you tried broadcast channels yet?
So I remember when broadcast channels came out, so do you. It was bombarded, right? Everybody was so excited to try it, and
Yeah.
it didn't have the features that it has now. And so I was one of the holdouts. I said, I don't want to be one of the people who's just bombarding unless it's something that I really can commit to, like a YouTube channel or a podcast that I'm going to be able to commit to. And so I haven't yet. However, with these new updates where you can go live and you can now also invite other people to be part of the conversation, I've been thinking about maybe starting that broadcast channel.
Okay. I was just curious because I know you didn't jump in at the beginning. So, all right. So for carousels, big update. You can now share 20 slides of photos or videos in an Instagram carousel where people swipe through, which is double what it was before when it was 10. And I believe everybody's supposed to have this, but I think the question that we should discuss is how would you use this and should you use 20 just because you can? So, Chelsea, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I had to try it just to say I did. So I did use the extended feature. I can't remember if I used the whole 20, but I'm quite confident I got up to at least 18. And
Okay.
of course, should you share that much content? Remember, even though carousels are going to be shown twice to the same person, which is double the amount for any other type of post, it's also important to remember that one of the weights or the ranking features of carousels getting more reach is, does the person swipe through to the end? So, of course, the more that you have, the more opportunity that someone may not make it to the end. I think this would be great for somebody who has products. I will tell you, I love it when an account that I follow that sells products, especially clothing, I get to swipe and keep going and keep going and keep going. I'm like, oh, I love this. It's like a little mini magazine. So I
Yeah.
definitely think that there could be benefits, especially if you're doing something that's very storytelling focused and you're able to capture curiosity and keep people swiping. Generally, for someone like me who's creating educational content in those carousels or maybe a photo dump, I probably won't do 20 very often.
Okay. Well, and I think, I love the idea for products. Another one I thought of, and maybe this is the former radio person in me, but it'd be great to do countdowns. And maybe you don't have 20, maybe it's a top 10. But one slide, it's like, number 10 is this, and then the next
Mhm.
one is explaining it or showing it, and then onward from there. Because it's really uncomfortable for us to not finish things like that.
Yes,
you
that's
know,
a great point. I love that. I'm actually going to do that now, Jerry. That's a good idea.
Okay, I'm excited. I'll watch for that. So I thought countdowns would be good. But as you said, the most important thing is if you have a 20 carousel thing and people chop off at 3, your reach is not going to go up the way it could. So
Mhm.
as always, everything should be as long or as short as it needs to be. I want to go back for a second. You said something, you just kind of mentioned this quickly about how the carousel is the one type of content that people will actually see more than once. Can you talk a bit more about that for people that are not familiar with that idea?
Yes. So until this changes, which it hasn't for a number of years, and this actually has come from Instagram as well, because there are multiple pieces of content, meaning there's at least 2 photos or 2 videos or a mixing and matching of those. Because there's more than just one thing to see, Instagram is typically, not every single time, but typically will serve that same piece of content to the same person more than once. So here's an example. Let's say I have 5 slides and you are opening up your feed and it's serving you my carousel post, usually starting with slide number 1. Maybe you engage, maybe you don't, you scroll past it. You leave Instagram, you come back a few minutes later or a few hours later, and what do you know? You're actually scrolling through the feed, and this time it's showing you slide number 2 or maybe slide number 5. And maybe on this show, you're going to actually engage with it. So I think it's awesome. I think carousel posts are an incredible way to nurture your community and get more engagement.
I used to worry that Instagram would not show the first one first.
Yeah.
And it first started years ago with ads, even on Facebook carousels on ads. And they say we may show them in different order to improve performance. And I was like, no. And from a consumer standpoint, sometimes I'll notice it's showing me the second one instead of the first one, and I'm like, what do you like? It bothers me. But with all kinds of testing for years, I don't think it's something that we should really worry about because yeah, they will do it in the way that's gonna perform the best. So. One of the biggest features on Instagram to grow this year has certainly been notes, those little things you can add now to all kinds of different types of content. And now Instagram users are reporting seeing a special kind of feed around notes. It's not a feed of notes, but tell us about this and what you're seeing, Chelsea.
We got to give it to Instagram. They keep working on all things to try and advance notes and evolve them. It's working really well. They're doing lots of tests. Now, this one was kind of cool. When I finally read the article, I had this aha moment. I said, oh, okay, now I get it. Because I was thinking, is it a feed of notes? No, it's not a feed of notes. So just imagine going to your Reels feed. There is a drop down menu on your Reels feed, and some people may not have even noticed it. But if you tap, it just says Reels. There's a little drop down, and you can change for just the people you're following, so that it is a feed of all the people you are following versus a feed that is the default, which is mostly people that you don't even know who they are. You can also switch to nearby, which is just content from your local area that's noted by GPS. Now, the picture showed, said that there was going to be another option potentially under that. That is this feature. It's with notes from your friends. So show me only reels that have notes on them from people that I'm connected to. And I thought, okay, this actually might be kind of interesting. So the people that you're connected to was what made it click for me. So you'll be able to
Mhm.
potentially organize your Reels feed, not just from people you're following or nearby or random, but also show me the ones that have notes on them from my friends.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And so I'll have to watch for that. I do love the nearby, and I think I'd forgotten about it for a while till you mentioned it. But a couple things with nearby, I always like it if I'm at an event, because then you can see stuff that was posted related to the event or at a certain, like a bigger location where people would
Mhm.
gather, like a theme park or something like that. But the other thing too, I think local businesses, go in and just see what people are posting nearby you. May not be about your business, but what a great opportunity to just kind of get inside the head and the mind of what's going on nearby. So really
Agree.
cool feature. I'm glad you mentioned it. All right, this is time to check your profile just in case you missed the notification. Instagram announced that on July 31st, certain content got deleted from some profiles, and unfortunately, it's not coming back. Just give us a quick update on this so people know what to look for if they're going to go in and
Yeah,
check out
and
these,
they
Chelsea.
said that you were gonna get a message, so I haven't seen a message, so hopefully it wasn't one of my accounts, but it just so happened that there was a bug, and this was at the end of July, and there wasn't much information other than, "Hey, we have this bug," and unfortunately, what happened is that some of your Instagram story highlights might have gotten deleted, And some of your story archive also might have been deleted. And oops, there's no way for us to get them back to you. They did say that if you were in this group and it didn't happen to everyone, you would receive a message directly from Instagram letting you know. And I'm sorry if that was anyone who's watching or listening. It doesn't sound too promising that you'll be able to get those back.
Yeah, and I guess if you go in, you'll actually see a black screen with an error if anything's missing, so you can kind of check on that. They declined to share how many users were affected, which makes me think it's a big number,
Mhm.
right? Because if it was like 70 people, they'd be
Yeah.
like, it only affected 70 of our 2 billion users or whatever it might be. But
Mm,
and the error message is apparently going to be there till next July. So they just decided to keep
mm.
it there for a full year for whatever reason. So all right, lots of stuff being tested on Instagram. Let's run through some of these quick because I think it's good to be aware of this because it gives us an indication of again where they're going. And sometimes if you get a test and you can take advantage of it quickly while they're really trying to test it, you can reach a whole lot more people. But first one is something we've heard about before, but it's refocusing on DMs and Instagram. So what's going on with this, Chelsea?
Yeah, we've talked about this before. I actually haven't seen this in the wild personally yet, but on the home screen of your Instagram feed at the bottom, most people will see a plus sign, which is what we've been used to click on and create a new story or a new post or a new live or a reel. And what some users are reporting is that they are now seeing the DM or the messaging paper airplane icon literally front and center on that menu on the home screen, which potentially means that they're again focusing more on direct messages within the community. They've been talking a lot about messaging, and the word friends keeps coming up over and over and over again that we want you to share reels with friends. We're about
Mhm.
connecting friends. So there's definitely something going on with that particular word and creating connections. And one of the ways that you do that is through direct messages.
It definitely feels like we want to make sure to hold on to some of that Snapchat market share that we grabbed when we stole stories a number of years ago because it's very Snapchat-esque in that way. And then also another thing they're working on is blocking the ability to take screenshots in chats, which is never going to be completely possible. But what's the latest on this?
Yeah. So again, I was thinking, how are they going to make sure this happens? So the stipulation that they put on there is that when you send something where media can only be viewed once or replayed once, then you're going to be able to not be able to screenshot that chat. It's been a long time since I've been over in Snapchat, but I know that they had a feature that would even tell somebody if you had attempted to or did take a screenshot. So more to come on that. They didn't have a whole lot of information, but it's something that they're testing is to prevent screenshots.
Which you could always take a picture of the screen, right, with another camera. Although it's,
Right.
I don't know, now that our phone is our camera, I'm always like, how do I take a picture of my phone? But I've seen some creators, if they want to hold up their phone or they're filming on their phone, they'll just take the case off and they'll just hold
Yes,
up the
I
case.
do.
Do you do that? Yeah, it's a great little hack. I remember
I've
when
done
somebody mentioned
that.
that to
Like
me, I'm
I'm
like, oh,
talking on
so
my phone.
simple. Yeah, that's so simple, much easier than borrowing a phone from somebody else or anything like that. So, and then the test that's I've seen the most anger about online is changing the way the grid looks on your Instagram profile. So, what's this one about?
I feel like maybe the square shape was like the last shred of old Instagram. And many people are upset about how much Instagram has changed and evolved and become sort of like that other app that's often mentioned. And that other app is video based and vertical video based. So some users are seeing changes in their grid from square to a more vertical, like a thumbnail of a reel type of post. And so I think, we don't like change. And we also, if you're a diehard Instagrammer, you're like, but wait, why are you making it more like this? Why can't we just be Instagram? So yeah, there's a lot of people that are not super excited by this test.
It almost sounds like you're describing it like it's a nostalgia thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're just
You think
used to
that's
what you're
part of it?
used to, and
Yeah,
some people will have to change their templates and the way they do things.
yeah.
For me, I've been using the larger posts for a while, and I think they've been going heavy vertical for years. So I'm not surprised. But I think in the wake of many people feeling like they're losing what made Instagram what it was, that it's just one more thing amongst the
Yeah.
recommended feed and the people are still wanting the chronological feed, which you can change if you decide to. It's just, change is always
Yeah.
change.
And you mentioned you've been doing vertical posts for a while now. Is it the full vertical like Reels are, or is it that, what is it, 1350 pixels? Is that
Yeah, so they
what size it's going to
showed,
show?
yeah, they said it was the 9 by 16 and 4 by
Okay,
3.
so that's full
Mhm,
vertical then.
mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Okay. Because I've been doing the 1350 tall pixels just because it takes up more of the
Me too.
screen, but this
Yeah.
is yeah, even taller than that. Instagram is also testing profile cards for creators. So what's a profile card and how do you see this getting
Yeah,
used?
so I got this notification. I have it, and basically what it showed me, it popped up, and it's the exact same QR code that you've been able to share with people. The difference that I could tell was there was a QR code, and then it would like flip, and then it would show you a preview, like a little preview of your profile and a couple of the posts. And so it's almost like not just a QR code, but you can also see a little preview, almost as if somebody took a little screenshot of your actual profile, but it's not the entire profile. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll use it. I always forget about these features when I'm, going in there and they just pop up and I haven't personally set them up. So I'm not really sure. I rarely use the QR code, but once in a blue moon I do.
It sounds like you're describing it as one of these things that Instagram came up with. I guess it's kind of cool, but the consumer behavior would have to follow for them to continue to
Exactly.
support it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a lot of stuff that's being tested. One thing that's definitely rolling out to everyone that we'll talk about in a second, specifically, I don't know if it was inspired by or stolen from MySpace, but it was really interesting to see when this rolled out here in the last 10 days or so. But real quick, you no longer have to have a Facebook business page to run anything business related on Instagram.
Yay! You can tell I'm excited, and the reason is because I have been personally impacted by this. If you have never tried to connect something, with Instagram, maybe ManyChat, and then all of a sudden it's like you need to log in with Facebook. You need to have a Facebook business page. And you're like, but wait,
Yes.
this is for Instagram. I don't want to have anything to do with Facebook. And for me personally, I don't know what happened. It is a major glitch. There is some issue with my Facebook connecting to ManyChat or logging in through it that made it absolutely impossible to use it on my Instagram. So, good news, friends. If you've got something you want to use on Instagram now, you're not going to have to go through and have Facebook connected. And I believe they also mentioned that if you're a developer, you're also going to be able to develop stuff just for Instagram and not have to make it for all. So yay, we're excited
Yeah,
about it.
and I think that's one of the best parts is because now maybe more tools will integrate with Instagram simply because, if you think on the back end of all the extra code or people you have to hire or, to make all of that stuff work,
Yeah.
yeah, this could be huge over the next couple of years to see what kind of new tools that we get. So, and Instagram has gone back to the days of MySpace and launched a new feature. This is supposed to be rolling out to everybody, allowing users to add a song to their profile. I don't have access to it yet. I haven't run into anyone that has. So I don't know if it's going to be like a player or have you seen a screenshot of it at all, Chelsea?
I don't know what it's going to look like. I can tell you right now, I will not use it only because I feel like I've been there, done that. It's everything that's old is new again, right? So if you were around in the MySpace days, you remember the joy which you combed through all of the songs to pick the perfect one for you to put onto your profile. So
Yes.
yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. I personally would not like it if I was checking someone's profile out and then it started playing. So hopefully it's something kind of like Reels where if you want to turn it on, you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen with it. We'll see.
Well, there's not a lot of room on the profile, right? So it's not going to be big. But I will say I have a membership where I work with business owners, a couple hundred people in there. And on our weekly Q&A this week, 2 people showed up just to ask why they didn't have it yet. Like they're like, where is it? And then we got into this whole discussion of what song are you going to put up there? So
I think it could
like you
be
said,
really fun for some accounts and some profiles and some businesses. And it's really just probably going to come down to a personal preference. I mean, obviously, if you're a musician, great. That would be amazing
Huge.
to have your songs right there playing.
Yeah, but from a marketing standpoint too, if this comes to business profiles and things like that, like imagine looking up your business and you're like, oh, that's my jam. Like they
Yeah,
like one of your favorite songs is on there too. So,
agree.
all right. Quick reminder: learn more about an all access ticket to social media marketing world today. Just go to socialmediamarketing.world. Easy to remember: socialmediamarketing.world. And Chelsea, where's the best place to connect with you?
Best place to find me is on the gram. It's my first and last name, Chelsea.Peitz. It's Peitz.
All right. And if you want to add another podcast to your listening lineup, one for you to check out the Social Media Marketing Podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. And until next time, may you be wise with your marketing decisions. Thanks.